Cool. So to get started for today's community call, the first thing I wanted to talk about is I guess one of my favorite parts of this project is that lots of cool people just reach out and are offering to help. And so we had this salesperson who works for like a technology company in the DC area send us a cold email, and he basically said, hey, like, I'm good at sales. Do you guys need some volunteer sales help? Like, I can reach out to like different department chairs or companies to try and like drum up like partnership interest type stuff. And then also said that he'd help us with like writing copy for cold emails in case we wanted to like have community members like reach out to their professors or something like that. And so I just wanted to hear everybody's thoughts on like if they feel like it'd be useful if we set up almost not like classes is the wrong word, but like workshops with this person in order to like help glean from their brain how we can like start to organize some outreach efforts and maybe even like incentivize it with ResearchCoin. You guys would be interested in that if we did something?
I'm not sure who mentioned, but somebody mentioned like the Web 3.0 stuff definitely needs more copywriters. So like if you can manage to get some additional knowledge regarding that, that won't be wasted for sure.
Oh, so you're saying like writing cold emails to like explain how blockchain works for people outside the field or something like that?
I mean, not necessarily, but among other things.
Okay, cool. Yeah. I'll invite him to our... Sorry, go ahead.
A quick question, just to clarify, you mean the outreach as in recruit more researchers to use ResearchHub?
Yeah, I think it could be a whole lot of different things. It's like a sales is a skill set. You know, there are like some tools that people use, and like knowing how to phrase emails in a way where you like are most convincing in the shortest amount of time, knowing how to like find targets. You know, there's like a lot of tricks to it. And so it'd basically be someone who does it full time and is like, you know, made a career out of it, doing technology sales, who would more or less almost be like helping to guide efforts, like if anybody needed any help. And then he had even offered to like do some outreach on his own to get feedback. So just to
would it be possible to meet all together in conjunction with maybe Kobe and other people from the dev team? Because, like, to be honest, right now, like, I have an opportunity to invite, you know, other people and, you know, researchers and, you know, people who work in my university to ResearchHub. I don't necessarily do it just because there is like, I think the landing, the onboarding procedure is lacking, to be honest. So I'm waiting till ResearchHub gets to a point where I should start inviting people, you know. And it's like it would be a waste of resource to develop like a really appealing and profound invitation system, but people would actually, you know, get to like the homepage of ResearchHub and wouldn't have no idea what's going on, you know.
Yeah, I mean, that's amazing feedback. So thanks for saying that. And that even gets back to what I think like one of Brian's main perspective is, where like the product should be good enough to cause like organic growth. So it basically should be good enough where Anton's like, hey, you know, I want to invite all my friends because this is so great, you know, and we're not there yet. So if we put sales efforts out now, it might make us feel like we're actually there when in reality we're not. So I guess for Nick and Dragon too, like, do you guys feel the same way as Anton? Do you feel like it's not quite there yet, like getting somewhere but not quite there yet? And if so, you know, what are the things that you feel like are most lacking at the current moment?
Yeah, so I've been sort of holding back, spreading the word, just to. At first, I was waiting for the post feature, which would be ideal for people in my area. But also, yeah, just waiting for more content on that front, so people would be more incentivized to post and then spread the word. But also, I wanted to just check with you guys. When do you guys feel like we should start to reach out? Because I like the idea of having that person reach out to the department chairs, but also I feel like we should also have some sort of like advocate program where like I could reach out to geography people if we have a biology person that so like from certain fields.
Yeah, totally. Was in an advocate program, what would you like to see for that? Like some kind of like, yeah, just curious what you think that would consist of.
What do you mean, like in terms of like rewards or?
Yeah, or just anything, you know, like instruction, rewards, like organization, like what would you like to see us do to help make that happen?
Yeah, organization like different advocates should get together maybe with this new person and basically go over the selling points and make sure that the page is ready for it to scale. That was my other question. That like if we start spreading the word like crazy, do you have enough capacity to scale? I know there were some issues today. Was that related to that to traffic?
Not for more users. We've been adding new features, so sometimes it'll break code and cause something to slow down. Thomas, do you know exactly what happened earlier today? Were you working on that?
Yeah, I think it was just like a leftover call to the database that we didn't need, basically. Slowed the site down. The Patrick removed it.
Okay, so Nick, if I can repeat back to make sure I understand where you're coming from. You do want to share ResearchHub with people in your scientific community, but you don't think it's there yet. And the two reasons you cited were you like the post feature, but there's not enough content yet. So like once that becomes more robust and more examples of like how that would operate, that would be more appealing for you to refer, which is good because that's not a technical thing. So we can try and make that happen. And then the second one, if I heard correctly, was like, you know, small things like occasionally, like this morning, loading times taking longer, you know, like that type of sort of bugs in the system makes you feel like it's not ready to totally like refer to all of your network yet.
Right. Yeah. That exactly.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll make sure I share that with the rest of the team too, because I think it's an important point that we've been talking about for the last couple of weeks, where we just want to get the performance of the site up to the point where like 99.9% of people can use it with no issues. And then, you know, there's some edge case bugs, but that the grand majority are covered. Dragon, do you feel the same way as the other two?
The way I see it, like there's pre-conversion onboarding, like getting people familiar with what it is at all that you're offering, and there is the actual like feature onboarding after they converted and perhaps created an account. And like those are very different, and it seems what you were talking about, the person that wants to help is kind of that like sales talk, copywriting, and all of that. Like that is a low risk, potentially high reward, and you like. It's low risk, so like you can just add it and invest some time in it and expect some decent return. And again, that is just one part of the funnel for users. So investing in each of those steps in the funnel won't be a mistake for sure. So it's fine to give it a go.
Okay, cool. You mentioned the onboarding. Do you feel similarly where you think ResearchHub needs more instructions on what utility we provide and what users should do?
So as someone who didn't have previously blockchain background or didn't know anything about that, I'm always super skeptical about those technologies. So a good, decent explanation would, well, always help. So that's kind of the main concern. And you probably still at this point would get sticky users that are early adopters in profile. So still not somebody looking for a full-featured system to do science, but somebody looking to invest in new opportunities for the future. And so yeah, like optimizing for those kind of user profiles is probably a way to go, which again means better wording, but full feature onboarding might not be super necessary at this point. That would be a high risk, high reward. So it might be too costly at this point in time, I guess.
So I have one more question on this train of thought. For the pre-conversion onboarding, how would you see that working into our current UI? Like a better about page, like pop-ups, like a modal or something?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Like explaining what it is, why you can and should depend on it, and things like that. So like things that will make me a user.
Yeah, that's I have the same issue. Like I can't, just like Dragon said, yeah, there is a certain amount of stigma with cryptocurrency, and especially among kind of like I wouldn't call researchers conservatives. The researchers are grounded in what they're doing, so they are slow to change their opinions. So it would be nice to have some sort of material that we can, if I want to tell other person about ResearchHub, right now I can just send them the link to the website. But this way I don't control the process of their first impression formation. And they, and if I'm cautious that they will get the wrong idea, I just don't send it, right? But if there would be some sort of material that I can share, I don't know, maybe like a very short, very dense in terms of explanation and everything video on YouTube, like 2 minutes or something. Just give us a tour. This is how you upload papers, and actually what it entails and what it doesn't entail, because a lot of users, I guarantee, have a false impression there is some copyright cost, like you are uploading the papers that you're not supposed to, like you're breaking some laws, or maybe you're robbing yourself an opportunity to publish it later. Like I don't think people know that there is no cost to uploading the paper, Yeah, so there should be some sort of, like I said, material, I don't know, PR material or however you want to call it, that I can show to a friend.
So outside of a video, are you thinking just like send the explainer page where there's more information, or do you want like a PDF? We can make a Git book, is kind of like a technical documentation for some projects. Like what exactly would you want to send to your friend?
I don't know. I don't think they will actually read through it. I think there is a certain stigma about, not certain, people don't read agreements and stuff. So I was thinking it should definitely have some interactive form. I liked the way it was. I shared the link in chat here, how it was in ResearchRabbit project. They recently in the past, they used to have like a video up front. Now there is no video, but there is like, a short GIF, right? Just animation showing the flow of what people do. So maybe if there was, I don't know, what would it be, like an additional about page, like short about page, something like that in ResearchHub, where you would give this briefing of what's going on.
Dragon, you had a video on Unfold Research that was just a quick, show the utility of the platform. Like, I think you had it for your designs when you're like going over the paper page and stuff. We could do something like that with maybe like a little bit of editing where we put some testimonials of like why people are using it or something like that.
Yeah, definitely go with a shorter format than 12 minutes. But yeah, I mean, there is a science in building the landing pages and like making sure that your users and visitors convert. So that is exactly the kind of help that you want from a person that is offering that kind of help. So do use them and use their help in time. I can agree with Anton that having some short video is always super helpful, because it's just densely packed with information and nobody has the time to bookmark yet another white paper to read later or anything like that. Or again, having a static page with text and some pretty decently done illustrations that makes the point what is so different about ResearchHub. So you have a certain value proposition that you're trying to sell that's different than all the other platform. And that is what you need to communicate. And like, after they get that point, what is different, you need to address their concerns. Like, we aren't taking your money, your paper might be breaking something, so you have this feature, you can flag them, or you can just remove them yourself, things like that. And like, that is how the user will see the platform. They will try to learn what they can do, and like what is wrong that they can do, and how to fix that. So yep, if you have a professional at your hand, help with that.
Yeah, I agree absolutely, especially about the last part. Like, basically, we need to infer what would be the. But what does it mean? But like, what is the downside in the head of the user after they read what you can do in ResearchHub? And like I said, first flag is going to be, why is this cryptocurrency? Is this a scam or something? And second one is going to be, what am I not supposed to upload? Like, how does the copyright work with this? Like, am I supposed to be sharing papers or not?
Yeah, this is super helpful. So what we can do is set up a call with Andrew, is his name. I'll add him to the mod channel after this and introduce him. And then we can, like, if we all just got on a call and you guys explain this to him, I'm sure he'd be like, oh yeah, I can definitely, put out some copy to help make the about page like a little bit more convincing.
The other thing, if you do end up making a video or even an explainer page, it would be cool if you can get some sort of incentive, like a token for reading it or viewing the video, like similar to how like new coins on Coinbase or these explainer pages on Gitcoin.
Oh, totally. I bet that wouldn't be too hard to do, like to have somebody earn a research coin for like watching X amount of time in the video or something. Yeah, Coinbase Earn does that kind of type of program. I think, yeah, that stuff is always really useful. Let me, I'll write that down. Okay, cool. So to move on, I want to go over the Power User Program. And so Anton had 1 million posts again. I think you had 8 posts, Anton, 13 comments, 2 responses. Nick was 4 posts, 3 comments, and 2 responses, so 5 comments. And then Philip had a couple as well. So I just want to like grab your guys' thoughts on like how this is going so far. Do you think whether we should expand it to like some more people? One of the challenges there is that it's hard to know exactly how much value we're giving away with it. So yeah, it might be better to wait until we have a better understanding before we open it up to like everyone. I think like at the end of the day, the main goal of this program is to give us information to help implement a V2 incentive structure for everyone. So this is almost like a small test group. So like through that lens, should we invite more people to this test group to get better data? And like, if so, how many? And then any changes to our reward structure from last week?
Is there a Notion page with the reward structure?
Mm-hmm. I'll share it in the chat right here.
Cool. Yeah, because like we discussed it last week, but I don't know if it's implemented yet. So we have 7 comments and 7 posts are the max, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think I brought up the possibilities that maybe we should count replies as separate, like if you reply to someone else's comment, that because it's like it's a different type of interaction, like it definitely in the ideal world, I think it will provoke conversations, unlike posting comments in your own paper upload that you just did. So I don't know if so I would be an advocate of including that as also a part, like similarly rewarded. And I definitely would want more people because basically we have like 5, 6, right? Or however many. Oh, okay. So there is extra 50, or how does it work?
I basically, so a reply counts as a comment plus an added 50. So Anton,
Oh,
I think
okay.
it's 11 of them this time. So I added like an additional, I guess 550 to your total.
Okay, gotcha. Makes sense. Yeah, I do want more people because my personal bottleneck was I tried to respond to other people, but then I ran out of comments to respond to because some of them were like deeply specific about medicine. I don't know about that, and some of them I already replied to. So I had to go like in the past in the very old comment section to talk to people. So I would want more people to interact with.
How many do you think we should try and aim for? Like in a perfect world to balance, like not giving out too many, but then also getting enough data where like it's actually meaningful when we try and do a V2.
Maybe 5, 10.
Okay. Yeah, I think we can definitely get at least double the number we have now for next week, and then maybe 10 for the week after that. Cool. So one of the things that I was curious about, one of the best like marketing things I've done so far is posting papers to Reddit, where like if it's like a cool paper that's about like, you know, like CBD or like opioids or something like that, posting the ResearchHub page to Our Science will, like I've had a couple get to the top of Our Science, and that'll be like 50,000 clicks or something. So a lot of, from like 2017, I remember a lot of blockchain projects would have like bounties for like doing tweets about the project or something like that. Do you guys, just overall, do you think it would be worth it, not even thinking about this group, but like as we grow and have more community members, setting up some kind of like social media content production bounty system where if you like posted a paper to ResearchHub and then also shared it to Our Science, you get like double the rewards or something like that.
I mean, in general, referral programs are there for a reason because they are helping everybody. So yeah, that is always a good thing to have. Is it too early or is it too costly to implement? And like which ways you could do the referral program? Like, is it email or just copying the links or something more advanced? Yeah, it depends, but it's probably a nice to have.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it's like a social media type thing where like to get people to like share ResearchHub links in more places.
It should definitely be something very humble in terms of rewards, right? Because it's my understanding that people gamed the referral link last time, right?
Yeah, totally.
So it should be something minor or not necessarily minor, but rewarded as a function of actual help to ResearchHub. Like if it gets like 10K views on Reddit, I actually don't know if it's a lot or little, but if it gets like a lot of views on Reddit or a lot of upvotes, then you can maybe dish out more rewards, something like that.
Okay,
It
so you
makes
think,
sense.
sorry, go ahead. My fault.
Sorry, it was mine. But yeah, it makes sense to like not reward any action, but something meaningful. For example, like if you refer and you get a new, like you convert a new user from it, then that's good because, like Anton said, like it's actually helping the platform. It's not just some one-off action like taking a view at the page and that's it. I mean, many apps, I think even Notion is having like, you get 1 month of free subscription if you get a new user, or you install our browser extension, or you do some meaningful action that is leading to a spread of the platform like more efficiently. So yeah, good point there.
So I was thinking about it from the perspective of like manually testing something that we could then try and implement for the entire user base. But you bring up a good point where like tracking conversions, like if we could do a referral program where the reward was tied to like a conversion plus quality content, yeah, that could be pretty useful.
Yeah, okay, so I see where you were going initially with it. With the manual one, you could If the manual one, I guess it's easier to start small, right? Because it's fully in your hands, just like the power user program. I think you can, if you want, you can make a power user division of like outreach or something, that users that are specifically going to create high quality posts on Reddit and promote it, and and they will be paid, however much you agree. And so it's going to be like trust-based payment, I guess.
So what I'm thinking is like stage one of like trying to figure out the incentives is trust-based, where it's like we're all kind of friends, like we all like talk to each other all the time. Like it's nobody's gonna scam each other here, But once it becomes open up to everybody, like I think like it's better to test things out, get the wrinkles out, and then open it up to everyone.
Yeah, then maybe it makes sense to just recruit, few volunteers and discuss the RSC reward that they're willing to do it for. I think it would be, in a way, because it can be both a positive or a negative. Right? Think about this way: what if we implement this merit-based automatic outreach program, and then people will start just spamming ResearchHub everywhere, and people can start hating ResearchHub for this, spammy, encouraging politics,
That's kind of what I wanted to get to. Like if there was potential for it to be like, oh man, because I remember a couple years ago, some other science projects did ICOs, and it would be like if you search open science on Twitter on the hashtag, it would just be littered with these like ICO scams. And so I don't know, that to me came off as not ideal. But I think on a small scale it would be cool. So
what platforms did you have in mind other than Reddit? Twitter?
Yeah, Quora maybe too, where like there's some scientific questions, and Stack Exchange where you could like cite a paper in your answer on Stack Exchange that like links to ResearchHub, in order to, it helps our SEO just having links, and then, brings more users.
Hacker News always.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Hacker News, absolutely. Cool. Yeah, so just a couple minutes left. One thing Dragon mentioned when I spoke with him is that he thought these calls should be longer, and then we don't have to use all of it. But curious what you guys think about like changing it to an hour and then like trying to keep it to half an hour. But if things go long, no big deal.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, if someone needs to go, they can just drop off. But yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And then the last thing with the last few minutes, Thomas, did you have any questions when it comes to this new like authoria type feature for the guys here?
Yeah, I guess like it might be a bit too much to go over anything that we've created, but if you guys have time, like sometime this week, to hop on like a call with me and Pat, and we'd like to sort of like interview you about like your research process, like what tools you're currently using, what tools you find like painful to use, what parts of the research process are painful or annoying to you. Because we're trying to build out features that kind of like hook you earlier into the research process and kind of like disrupt or provide useful utility to you throughout the research process. Not just, like once you have the final paper, you publish it on ResearchHub and like can discuss it as sort of kind of what the current project is, right? Kind of helps you like market it or like do like an MA on it afterwards after all your research is done basically and you have the finished manuscript. We want to like try and conceive of some features that could help throughout the whole process, like ideation, writing it up the document, getting peer reviews, getting funding.
So Thomas, for a little context here, we had a group out of UCLA which does quantum biology, which is like the quantum, ness of like biochemical reactions. And they want to use ResearchHub to publish like a live blog of what's going on in their lab. And so our new post feature can do that now. but we'll end up needing to refine it significantly to like provide actual value. So we're trying to explore use cases for like if we were to build out our new post feature with like a sweet collaborative editor where like you could do like code, you could have like equations, you know, whatever you need to communicate science. What would people use that for? One of them might be a live blog of a cool lab. Another one might be writing a manuscript, that kind of thing. Like, just what would you use it for?
How ambitious do you envision this part to be? Do you want it just to be, you know, Google Word or whatever, like the Google text editor, the one they can share, or do you envision it to be like team organization platform? Like, I don't know if you've used Asana.
Oh yeah, like project management. Yeah, so
Yeah.
a lot of ELNs will have like some project management stuff in them. I think what we'd like to do though is like before we even get into that much detail, learn about like how you would use it, you know, in order to take that data and then get back to you with like, oh yeah, we think we need a Kanban board in here, you know, or like you don't really need that. You just need more Notion type functionality, like focusing more on like the actual use case first and then getting to this part.
I see.
Which tools do you think that we have sort of the best chance of like, actually convincing you to switch from and use our tool instead? Which things do you find annoying to use right now? If only there were a software integrated properly, then you switch over like, right away, that kind of thing.
Is this how you want it to be framed? Do you want to start a direct competition with what people use now, or do you want it to be a simplified version? Like you know what Nami said last time. You're like, oh, we want our own GitHub, right? He said, I already use GitHub, so for me it's going to be a pain in the ass to maintain 2 version control systems, right? So do you want people to abandon what they're using now and switch entirely to ResearchHub, or do you want it to mimic what they're doing, but make it simplistic enough so people use it just as a presentation tool for their REC supporters? Like essentially, you can give up the idea that it needs to be like an advanced collaborative tool. It just needs to be a simplistic collaborative tool that you can use to essentially advertise what you're doing in the lab.
I think we're like going back to square one to the point where we don't even know if it's a collaborative editor, which is the useful thing here. Like for instance, right now you can upload PDFs on BioArchive. You upload PDFs, you know. So even like it might be plugging into Google Docs, you know, or GitHub, not necessarily recreating those features and having them easy to port over. So yeah, like I think the point of the questions would be to be like, you know, how do you co-author documents when you co-author documents, and how could you see yourself and people like you using something like this in the future? With one example use case being lab blogs, you know, from a lab for PR purposes. But there also might be like, you know, maybe you need to write a pre-registration with somebody else, you know, who's across the country or something, you know.
If you already use something like Google Docs or Overly, you find it perfectly suits your needs right now. You couldn't ever imagine yourself switching to use something else if it was just like offering you like coins or something, right? Oh, that's the kind of information that we want to know. Like, what do we reasonably have a shot at actually like competing with?
I mean, there are obviously standalone companies working just on the problem of collaborative editing of the documents. It's such a huge problem on its own that it requires multiple teams working just on that. And there definitely are features that like won't be implemented by ResearchHub anytime soon for me or other people to consider switching and making ResearchHub the main collaborative editor for our team. But again, to Anton's point, like, is that what you want ResearchHub to become? Is it a tool for writing and publishing, or is it an infrastructure for sharing and for earning for research papers? It's a very, like, you definitely commit yourself to a completely different path if you choose to develop very advanced technical features that will require a tremendous amount of time and resources to develop fully to be at the level where they can compete with some other companies and products, let alone like to be at a competitive advantage of whatever sort. So I mean that's a much bigger, like higher level path that you need to pick. So yeah.
Yeah, that's.
I had a great conversation with Dragon last week, and he mentioned something which I think is important that we should keep in mind, even internally, Thomas. Like our competitive advantage is the RSC economy, and that like we can build tools that plug into that and take advantage of it and help to make it the economy more robust. But that like we shouldn't hide that and be like, oh hey, let's build a collaborative editor that brings so much value on itself, because we won't be able to compete with big teams doing that. Like what we need to do is how does a collaborative editor make the research coin economy better?
Right. That's exactly what I thought. Like you guys can't possibly compete with teams that have like hundreds of people on board doing just this one thing, right? So if your primary mission is to just create a platform where people, like Patrick said, they have opportunity to exchange RC for certain actions, that's it, right? And I had the same impression when you were talking about the journal, right? I don't think the journal or the collaborative editor should ever become the primary focus of what you're doing. In a way, like if I understand why you want it, right? You want it to be like a one-stop experience, right? Like you do everything on ResearchHub. You wake up, you go to ResearchHub, you order your food delivery on ResearchHub, you brush your teeth on ResearchHub and everything else. But I think that only is doable after you get popularity due to your primary function, right? And your primary function now is, exchanging papers, discussing papers, and giving research coin to each other. So I think it just should be, if you want this collaborative tool, it should be just in conjunction or as a good enough tool that lets you do other stuff on the website, right? And if the main goal of the lab notes is to draw in investors, right? So people can pay to see what you're doing. It should not be fancy or anything. It can be something as simple as what Kobe is using. The thing where you draw things on the board. I forgot what it's called. Whimsical.
So this is like the exact thing that we'd want to nail down to, right? Is the use case collaborative editing, or is the use case sharing notes to bring in money?
Yeah. Okay.
Because if that's the use case, like that's what we think the quantum biologists really want to use it for, as a way to drum up awareness around their field and be like, hey, NIH, this is important. A lot of people care about this. And so their goal is more of like a marketing one. So the collaborative editor for that is a different feature set than the collaborative editor that would compete with Overly.
I mean, every team and every person, individual, has their own needs and like suggestions what features to build. I want something to create 2D graphs. Like I would really use that feature. But again, like you cannot build just features that user want. Like you're trying to position yourself uniquely on the market and offer something unique. And like you already noticed, like the main value proposition and differentiating factor is the economy and nothing else. And like Anton said, just create other things good enough to be to not hinder the process that you want to have, but it's like the cost that you would spend on trying to build a competitive feature, like competitive to Autorea or Google Docs or whatever, like it's too huge. And like if you're gonna commit yourself to that kind of path and to spending that many resources and work hours and all that, then it's a very, very different strategy and different market that you're targeting. So yeah, just 2 cents.
One thought on that. I'm not sure if this is in line with what you're thinking, but since you mentioned a lab, what if you were to try to convince labs or even like crypto DAOs to publish their latest update through a post? and people could engage there. It's still research, and yeah, I think that would be perhaps a good strategy, even with this new salesperson to like communicate with these DAOs or labs to update through a post through ResearchHub.
Would it, okay, there can be a small fix to add to make it a good enough feature for now. Can you create kind of like a post series? It's kind of like a folder. You click on the folder and then all the associated posts that are like a progress report on a certain project are going to be there, you know, so they're not scattered across ResearchHub.
And then you could have some sort of collaborative tool that org can use with that post.
Yeah.
They go to ResearchHub to write it, and it's not, because what I see them doing right now is they're writing it on Google Docs or whatever. They're downloading it as a PDF, and then the PDF just sits on their site. So if they were to write it on ResearchHub, that would be cool.
Yeah, I think that can totally happen. That's pretty much the exact use case for this one lab. And we even, our #1 clicked paper of all time was from a former digital marketer who was interested in like specific immune deficiency and how it influences COVID-19. And he actually started a lab in Colombia that he was funding and was trying to use ResearchHub as a way to like basically market his findings to drum up more attention. So I do think there's something there of this like post series tied to one group that they're using to hopefully get like token donations or something. Cool. Yeah, that's really helpful. Thank you guys. Thomas, was there anything, any other quick questions that you had, or you feeling good?
Yeah, just quickly, good to know like sort of what tools you guys are currently using during the research process. Google Docs or Dropbox, or like how you get your information as well. You just like browse Hive or Hive, that kind of thing.
I personally, I use Google Docs to work with other people. I use Google Scholar to search for articles that I need, and I store my stuff in Zotero when it's offline.
Thanks. Nicholas, how about you?
Yeah, so I'm from the business world, so it's maybe a little different, but Jira, and if it's more research related, it basically it sits on a site like I described.
Nice. This is awesome.
Yeah, I posted mine. So Google Docs, Google Keep Notes, and Notebook, which is just, again, visual storage of documents, similar to Whimsical or something like that.
Let's see. Yeah, thanks. That's helpful for sure.
Orkan, do you mind just super quickly saying how you use Zotero? We've talked to for a little bit about potentially working like citation management into ResearchHub.
Well, so Zotero basically, you know, when I have the Google Chrome integration, the plugin, so whenever I read an article that, you know, I'm going to use for research, there is like a button that I click and it downloads and creates the entry in Zotero, and then you know I sort it by tags or whatever, depends on the mode. But the important part for me is the integration with Microsoft Office, with the Word. So there is another plugin that you do, and then basically when you write an article, let's say you need a citation, you click import citation, and then you search by name or whatever, and it creates you select what format and type you want. Like for me, it's American Psychological Association, like 6th edition or whatever, and it creates the citation in text. But it also creates the reference portion at the very bottom, right at the end of the paper, and it is already formatted the way you want it to be. So for me, it's more like a lazy person tool, you know.
Yeah, totally. I used to do the same thing with Mendeley. Having the works cited done for you is
yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you guys. It's 15 minutes over. Thank you so much for taking the extra time. I think that was super helpful. Do you have any questions, comments for us for next week?
I'd be really interested in hearing like some of your like internal discussion, or like outcomes of internal discussions regarding the editor versus whatever else versus economy kind of focus on features, because it seems that will be like the main point for driving this community and like the future of the platform itself. So I know it's an interesting topic, definitely, and an important one.
Yeah, so just to quickly touch on that, I think one of our ethoses is that ResearchHub should provide value outside of the token, is how like we're currently thinking about it officially. And like there should be some value where like if there was no token there, like it would already be so useful that researchers would be using it anyway. And then in theory, use the token to then further incentivize that action and other basically use that traction to have value in the token, which we can then use the token as a more powerful incentive. So that's kind of like the official stance. I think we are, willing to go in any direction that makes the most sense, at any point in time, staying flexible. With that being said, I think, at least from my mind, one of the MVP of ResearchHub is when there's a value to the token, and right now it's not traded anywhere. So I think we'll have be able to actually collect solid user data of our value proposition, or most important one in my mind, once we're listed somewhere. So that should be right around the corner, and then we'll have 3 months to see hey, how big of an incentive is Research Coin actually for people to do specific tasks. Does that make sense? Does that help to answer the questions?
It did, yeah. It's interesting though, mentioning the coin is there as an additional thing, but then also mentioning that the MVP is consisting of coin actually existing and being traded. So yeah, just making sure what it is exactly the pattern that you're choosing and trying to optimize for that could never harm any of the processes. So yeah.
I originally thought that the biggest non-coin value proposition of ResearchHub is you're essentially a more calm and relaxed brother of PubPeer, right? So this is a place to bring in articles and discuss them, and it also has some social network component that PubPeer lacks, right? The upvotes and stuff. So do you still think this is your main mission, or do you pivot towards the added functionality of the collaborative editor and stuff like that?
So I love the idea of trying to be in the same kind of marketplace as PubPeer. I guess I think that a collaborative editor would be helpful to be able to have high quality peer reviews. I also think to get there we'd need some kind of version control of an original article. So if you got peer review, you'd be able to incorporate it into the post itself. That's definitely something that we'd like to do. Trying to prioritize that, what's the feature that helps unlock other features. The one benefit of the collaborative editor is that it could be used in many different places. For instance, if we had grant applications or something like that would be based on high quality collaborative editor that you could use for showing off figures or having data incorporated, that kind of thing. But you're right. I think that is probably the best value that we could bring outside of the coin. And even the coin fits in well to that, from my opinion. And then also, Dragon, that was my own perspective on the MVP. That's not our team's perspective. So I think the coin matters a lot and the economy matters a lot, but that's not necessarily how we're organizing our internal priorities.
Yeah, if it's still about building that something sticky, and then coin being just a supplement to that, then yeah, it makes sense. But then again, choosing the right feature and set of sticky things, is it a collaborative editor or a version control tool or peer review tool, whatever? Well, that's still important, right? But again, just being very clear, because again, there are other companies with teams that have spent, I know, months and years building a specific feature. So trying to compete with them dictates things in a very specific way for like the future months and years for ResearchHub as well. So just, I don't know, taking all of that into account is not an easy thing to do, but it's a necessary thing to think about and to get to some sort of conclusion about.
So that's the way you phrase that is super helpful. I think, Thomas, we should bring up that concern during like our presentation and be like, hey, here's the potential downside. Okay, cool. Well, thank you guys so much. This has been awesome. Does anybody have anything else? Cool. Well, until next week. See you guys.
See you guys.